So welcome back, everybody. Thank you for the final chapter of Max's incredible journey from, pauper to king. But so anyway, so where did we get to? We got to the part where his milestone recoveries were his face obviously had to heal because he had had a massive problem with his eye. And they said it would have really hurt as well, but he never whimpered, he never cried, he just took it all. He's really stoic. And so the milestone was his eye had to be well. We had to make sure there was no blood left in his stool. We had to make sure he was dewormed, defleed. He was bathed eventually. Anyway, we showered him through the cat carrier, so that took down the smell. Interestingly, Max never cleaned himself for a long time. So after he would eat, most cats will clean their paws and everything else. He never did that until about 8 weeks in. So it was a long time before he started cleaning himself. So maybe he even hated the smell because cats are incredibly clean in general. So the other milestone was just to make sure he had been vaccinated. So yes, so eventually he managed to pass all of those with flying colours. Then it came to his release day. So this was a big day. I never expected to see him after this day, but I knew he had the best chance I could have given him because he was, everything had been done, bar his teeth at this point. And I didn't even want to bring him back in to get his teeth done because at this stage, while he was still being captured, because I didn't want to delay anymore him being released and having his vaccinations because I thought they were the most important thing, especially if he was going to escape. I wanted to make sure he had got his vaccinations. So anyway, the release day, I just came down as normal, left everything open. Now I opened the kitchen door, then I opened the back door, and he must have smelt the fresh air from a mile away because all of a sudden I heard thud. He came down the stairs, then he was in the hallway, then he looked at me, looked at the back door, looked at me again. I'm in the kitchen sitting down, and he's looking at me and looking at the back door, and then he decides, right, I'm just going to make a run for it. So he ran for it, and then he just stopped outside, had a look around a bit, and then he just ran again. And this was like 4 o'clock in the morning. So I thought, well, I'm going to release him really early, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, because although I don't know why I didn't feed him before he went, but I thought it'd give him a good chance. It's quite quiet as well that time. Otherwise, you've got commuter traffic, you've got quite a lot. And if he was going to run and hide anywhere, then he'd have a good chance to get somewhere, get wherever he needed to get to without any traffic. So it was still dark because it was still it was still quite dark, and he ran to the big wall at the back of the garden to begin with, and he's done that 100 times. He's run up that wall, but this time he couldn't make it, so he went up the wall and he fell back down. He just couldn't make it. Then he just ran to the fence and just jumped over the fence, and I just never saw him after that. So not expecting to see him at all. I was fine with that. I was totally fine with that. Remember, I didn't want any more cats anyway. So, hey, happy days. However, that was not the end of the story. So he came back for food. So, obligingly, I fed him at 6 o'clock and everything else. So he then hung around a lot again for food day and night. And that was totally fine. I was happy to feed him. And I made a little bed in the shed, kept the shed door open for him. So he always had somewhere to stay. He was still really shy of people, didn't like being around people. Got into little catnip bean bags, so he was on them, and he just loved his own company and just being away from people as long as we was there to feed him. And then what happened 2 weeks after that? Smushface turned up. So then another cat came in. Now Smushface had turned up about 6 months before, but he met Jess, and Jess scared him. So Jess chased him out the garden as well. So So he was really young. No, I didn't even know he was that young, actually. But anyway, he walks down he was very confident, very young, probably naive, 18 months old. He's got the impression, oh, everybody loves me. So he came in. Now I was able to bring him in because I had food, because obviously I had food from Max anyway. And I was able to feed him because he was obviously hungry. And I put his poster in to say, is this anybody's cat or whatever? And then but Smush just stayed around, and then Max started to come back in the house because Smush. So he got a lot of confidence from having Smush around. So he loves cats. Max loves cats. He rules them. He goes after their food. So he'll sit there and he will intimidate them till they leave their food bowls, and then he will go and see what they've got, and then they will go to his bowl or they will go to the other one's bowl, so they end up all swapping bowls anyway. But he meows at them to sit down and behave, and if they start playing, he goes and challenges them. So he's definitely earned that title of the Don. He definitely rules all the other cats in the house. He definitely is boss, and they don't trouble him. So all the others get picked on by everybody, but he doesn't get. Sometimes one of the other cats try to face up to him, but yeah, he's definitely the Don. So Smush kept coming in, and then but Max still couldn't use the cat flap at this point. So he would come in, and then Smush would go out, and he wouldn't know how to go out. He didn't know how to use it. So we used to wedge the cat flap open, but it used to freeze the kitchen. So, and then eventually he must have just followed Smush outside and realized that this thing worked. And where you've got the cartoon showing Max, Smush was showing Max how to use the cat flap. That really did happen, where Smush was going in and out, and then Max eventually learned how to use the cat flap from Smush, but I believe it was him that taught him how to use it. So that's it really, and he's come back, and yeah, and so now he just stays.